Out of curiosity, who here has not heard of EO Fire? And that's okay, just show of hands. All right, a nice percent. So what I'd like to do, John, is if we could just start a little bit with you and Kate, the backstory of how Entrepreneur Fire, EO on Fire got started.
Sure, well, first off, hello everybody. We're excited to be here and have our, hi, boom, shake the room, Orlando, let's go. It's our son Bo's first ever keynote, so please give him a little break if he freaks out. We have some snacks and some water for him. So my story in an incredibly brief nutshell, I'm from Maine, very small town, went to college on an Army scholarship, go Maine, all right, where the way life should be. I spent 4 years in the Army as an Army officer, did a 13-month tour of duty in Iraq, and thank you, appreciate that. After that, I tried a bunch of things in the traditional world. I went to corporate finance, commercial real estate, went to law school, and all these things were interesting, but they really weren't fulfilling for me in the way that I was looking for. So I started educating myself by reading books, by listening to podcasts, by doing all the things that I could think of to give me that inspiration, and podcasting was really where I landed as a consumer. And I feel like I found a void in the podcasting space back in 2012 to launch my the first daily podcast in the world, interviewing the world's most successful entrepreneurs. And that was 12 years ago. That was 4,500 episodes ago. That was before Bo came into my world as well. And that was 170 million listens ago, and I've been very honored to have been able to inspire a lot of people around the world through my interviews, through my guests, and build a business and lifestyle around that. I met my lovely wife in Maine in San Diego about 13 years ago. Wait, you're Kate, right? Okay, yeah. 13 years ago, I took her to Maine, back to San Diego, and then I got us both off the continental United States to Puerto Rico, where we've been for almost 9 years now, living the Caribbean lifestyle. We love that island. It's a special place. Anybody that wants to visit, we open our home up. That's an open offer, so come on down. And it's 2025. We have that 14-month son that you saw. We're kind of starting the next chapter of our life, which we're going to be talking about now on stage today, and have some fun doing it.
And Kate, talk about when you got into the picture with EO Fire.
Yeah, definitely. So John launched the business in Maine after he had drug me cross country out there. I was working in advertising and marketing, and he sent me an email one day at work and said, "I'm going to quit my job and start a podcast." And I was like, what is a podcast? So I fully supported him in that venture. I could tell he was incredibly passionate about that and so excited about it. So he launched the business, and within about 6 months, we were walking on the beach, and he said, "I think I have something here. You know, these downloads are starting to double every day. I'm having people reach out to me. They're asking me if they can come on my podcast. And I have ideas for communities I want to start, and programs that I want to do, and courses that I want to build, but I can't do this alone." Thankfully, John and I have skill sets in totally opposite arenas, so it's worked out really beautifully for us to work together. So I ended up quitting my job, I joined the team, and we've been working together ever since.
And real quick, Chris, I'm looking at this photo right here. This was my loft in Maine, where I launched Entrepreneurs on Fire, and it brings back a memory, because I haven't seen that for a while, but after I launched the first episode, Kate came home later that night from her job, and I was like, "Kate, I launched it like 2 hours ago, and I already have 2 listens. I don't know where these people are coming from." And Kate was like, "Well, I actually listened on my way home." Then my mother called and said, "John, I think I figured out how to listen to your show." And I was like, "Okay, let's go." And so just wanted to share that because A, it's true, but B, we all start with 0 listens, with 1 listen, with 2 listens. And I'm sitting here not many years later with 170 million plus listens with no intention of stopping anytime soon.
And that's the original logo, right?
That's the original logo. Yeah, it's a lot right there.
All right, so and then you joined, when you went out to California, you were with like-minded people, and that was one of the things. Can you talk about, so one of the innovations, and I know it sounds not innovative today, but part of EO Fire was a daily podcast. When you pitched that to people, what did they tell you? Because back then, podcasts at most was once a week, correct?
So in this picture, you can see Cliff Ravenscraft in the front middle. Some of you may remember him as the podcast answer man. He's since moved on to a different brand. But I hired him as a mentor, as a mastermind leader back in 2012. It was a huge dollar amount at the time. I was really just like, this is a leap of faith, and I'm going to listen to everything that this man says because he's the podcast answer man. And I pitched my story to him on the first mastermind call. He said, John, don't do a daily podcast. Everybody's doing a once-a-week podcast. That's the only way to do it. If you do a daily podcast, you'll get burned out. Your listeners will get burned out. You'll never find enough guests. And he listed off a litany of things. He even went to Twitter live and like put in daily podcast. And there's like all these people talking bad about random daily podcasts. And I said, but Cliff, what's the real reason that you don't think I can do a daily podcast? He's like, because it's too much time, it's too much energy, it's too much bandwidth. Nobody can do it. And I said, but isn't that the opportunity? Because if the top person in the podcasting world right now, Cliff, says it can't be done, and I figure out a way to do it, isn't that an awesome opportunity? And it kind of took him back a second. He thought about it and said, go for it, but I will tell you that there will be a day where I will say, I told you so. And that day has still not come yet. I listened to 99% of his advice, which was amazing advice. But that 1%, which was pretty key, I said, I gotta follow my heart, my gut, my intuition. So things that I say up here today, and Kate says, and Chris says, and you hear this weekend, it's gonna be great advice. But at the end of the day, you gotta filter it for you, what feels right for your gut, your intuition, what you know needs to be out there in the world, and go forward with that. That's my advice.
When you look at that picture, you're definitely the most excited person in that room.
It hasn't stopped. I mean, that was my personality.
It sticks out like a sore thumb. Like, look at you.
Well, and another piece of feedback on that, by the way, is, I will say that from, like, after the first 7 episodes that I did, I had 9 other people in that mastermind with Cliff, and a lot of them are like, John, you just sound way too excited. You're just too, like, over the top. And I said, but unfortunately, guys, like, that's me, that's my personality. If I'm not gonna be authentic and genuine to that, then I will get burned out by trying to be somebody who I'm not. So this show's either gonna work as me, or it's not gonna work.
And I do want to give credit, you did have one friend that told you it was a good idea. It was Michael O'Neill, right?
Michael O'Neill told me it's a good idea, brilliant guy.
Shout out to Michael, and that's awesome. Now I have this beautiful picture of you and Kate. So when I think of EO Fire, I think of the two of you as a team. Because one can't do it without the other, like, because you can do the podcast, but you also have the operator and the systems to build, and I think it's a very special thing what you guys have. Because I don't know if anyone's ever worked with their spouse. It doesn't always work out because there's just, people have different interests, and you guys tend to blend well. How do you balance that out?
Yeah, in the beginning, actually, when John asked me to quit my job and join the team, I was really nervous about that. We had only been dating for maybe a year at the time, and I was head over heels for this guy. I didn't want a business to like come in between that and ruin our relationship. So what we did actually is an exercise that was really helpful, and I know that maybe there's some people here who have considered working with their significant other and not sure if it would really work out or not. And I'll tell you, this exercise that we did was so incredibly helpful. You could really do it with anybody. It doesn't have to be your spouse or significant other. But we each took some time separately to write down all the things that we love to do, all the things that we're great at, and all the things that we do not like to do or we're not good at. And then we came together and we compared those lists. And that's when we realized, like, oh wow, there's a huge opportunity here. I'm really great at systems and organization and attention to detail. My background was in communication. I worked in the advertising and marketing space as a liaison between client and creative. So I had a lot of experience dealing with like invoices and contracts and that type of stuff. And John's exactly opposite, He's a great voice. He's got the energy, he's got the passion, he has great ideas. So when we realized that, it was, like match made in heaven, I guess.
Because you enjoyed that part of the business.
Right.
Yeah, and so some people enjoy operations, other people are the visionaries, and together I think you just make like an amazing team.
Appreciate that.
All right, so I do want to ask you guys, so I have this picture now, and you have San Diego, Portland, San Diego, and then how long have you been in Puerto Rico?
9 years, this is 9 years.
Okay, so I don't know if you guys remember, and I'm wearing, those of you who don't know, we made a documentary called The Messengers, a podcast documentary. You can look it up, it's on the internet. But I remember visiting you guys, and what a great time we had. So I just definitely want to show, this is the picture of all of us out there with the film crew. Katie in the front row is holding Sedona, who's now 9 years of age. But she was a very chunky little baby. And I remember, like, it was one of the rare times she was really well behaved.
Yeah, but after that dinner, Kate and I looked at each other and said, we're never having kids.
But I just remember having such a great time, and you know, being hosted and seeing you guys there. What I'd like to share here, and this is the business side of it, and then I'm going to take questions because I want anyone that has a question, we want to make sure you get your questions asked. But you guys have a lot of free courses on your website, and a lot of people are like, "Why are you giving so much away for free?" Can you talk about the methodology of why you have a lot of like free podcast course, free this, free webinar? You had all these things. What's the reasoning behind that?
The most special thing about a podcast, in my opinion, is that you're able to build unbelievable know, like, and trust with your listener fairly quickly, especially when you are authentic, when you're enthusiastic and excited about that topic and that product or that service. You can really speak to that individual who's listening in a very captive way. So you have this connection with an individual. Now it's like, what can I continue to offer this person that's free and that's valuable, and to continue to build that know, like, and trust. So I didn't want to have that know, like, and trust be wasted by saying, okay, now that you're listening to my show, here's a $1,000 product that I'm offering. I'm not saying that wouldn't work sometimes, but let's have some kind of step ladder process that's just continuing to build the relationship in a meaningful way. So I have a course called Podcaster's Paradise, and I'm obviously podcasting every day with Entrepreneurs on Fire. So to my listeners, it's very easy for me to say at the end of the show, I hope you enjoyed the episode with Chris today. He obviously rocked the mic. He dropped a lot of value today. And if for some reason you were thinking during the episode, like, wow, I like listening to podcasts, but maybe I could see myself producing and creating and launching my own podcast, well, I actually have a completely free course for you that's going to teach you how to create your podcast and how to launch your podcast. freepodcastcourse.com. And the key part of that is it allows people to go get even more value from me on a specific topic that I'm delivering to them, building that know, like, and trust along the way. And then at the end of that course, which is delivering massive value, it's not like light on the value, high on the pitch. It's high on the value, and then light on the, oh, if you want to take the next step, here's a completely free webinar that I've done. It's about an hour and a half long that goes deeper into growing your audience and monetizing. And then after they've watched that hour and a half video, what have they done up to that point? They've listened to my show. I've delivered them free value with a great guest. They've taken a free course that they've hopefully enjoyed. They've now watched an hour and a half webinar that's even given them more value. And then at the end of that, I give the offer of, we have a community called Podcaster's Paradise where we have all the videos, templates, tutorials, plus an active community every single day that you can be a part of. Here's the link to learn more, and that will take them then to the sales page of Podcaster's Paradise, where at that point, they've already gotten a ton of value. They've hopefully gotten a lot of traction. Hopefully they're very excited about where they are in their podcasting journey, and now they know that they're ready to really be a part of a higher level, advanced course and community within Podcaster's Paradise. And to us, that just felt like it was a much better flow, and it was something that we were able to be very proud of, because there's been so many people that have come up to me, even at this event, and said, John, like, I took your free podcast course, like, that was all that I needed, I'm off to the races. And we're happy about that. Then, of course, there's many people that have been through Podcaster's Paradise as well, and we're happy about that as well. And we've done that for a podcasting course that we run, and we've also done that for a product that we don't even create. An example of that is a product called ClickFunnels. And I'll actually let Kate step in and kind of talk quickly about how we use our podcast in a great way to continue to offer our audience the things that they actually need, even if we don't offer them.
Yeah, when we started with ClickFunnels and met Russell Brunson and started reading his content like .com Secrets, we thought, wow, what a beautiful way that he lays out just like so concrete and exact steps of how to create a funnel. And free podcast course and the masterclass in Podcaster's Paradise is a great example of a funnel that we put together. And when people started asking us, well, how do you do that? Well, we use ClickFunnels to do it, and we're affiliates for ClickFunnels, so we thought, why not do the exact same thing, except when we offer Podcaster's Paradise, we'll tell them about ClickFunnels. So we created a free course called Funnel on Fire, where we teach people how to create a funnel that converts. And then in that free course, we say, hey, by the way, if you don't have a software that you use yet to create a funnel like this for your business, ClickFunnels is a great option, and here's our affiliate link. We've generated over $2 million in affiliate revenue with ClickFunnels.
That's with one affiliate.
With one affiliate, yep. And so, as John said, it doesn't always have to be just your products and services. It can also be partner products and services that you create free content to help people get to that next step.
You have these things, right, with the financial services like CPA and whatever?
Yeah, CPA on Fire, they were reached out to us very early in our journey and said, hey, let us help you with your bookkeeping. We became great friends with the then founder, Josh Bowerly, and we have him on we do monthly income reports, which I think we'll be talking about a little bit. We invited him on, we said, hey, why don't you come on our income reports, tell people about how you help us with our bookkeeping, give people a monthly tax tip for entrepreneurs specifically, so we're adding incredible value to our audience. At the same time, Josh is being put in front of a lot of people who could potentially need his services. So that has been a really great partnership for us.
And real quick, a success story. So Josh was like, he came to us when he was working for another CPA, because he was like in his his early 30s at the time. And he was essentially told us, he's like, this is how it is for a CPA. Like, you essentially find a CPA who's within 10 or 15 years of retirement, work for them, then they hopefully hand you their book of business. And that was the course that he thought he was on. But he did this to us. He offered us services for free, and we promoted him in exchange. He was able to leave that practice, open up his own practice, only with clients from Entrepreneurs on Fire. It blew up so much that he got bought by the now owner of CPA on Fire, and Josh retired at 36 years old. So I mean, like, that was just like a cool story of somebody that offered a free service in exchange for value and had that success story as a result. But before we move on, Chris, real quick, the only thing that I'm really hoping that people in the audience are taking away from what Kate just shared specifically is, one of the biggest questions I get from people within Podcaster's Paradise is, John, how do I find sponsors? Like, how do I reach out and get people to sponsor my podcast? And you have to go through that contract and, commit on the reads and do all these things. And I'm like, that could come to you. That could be a monetization strategy. But how about right now, when you're in the earlier stages of your podcast, you go find a company that has products and services that make sense for your clients, for your listeners of your show. Go to the bottom of their website, click on the Become an Affiliate, sign up to be an affiliate, and then without even having to notify them, because they're already giving you permission by accepting you as an affiliate, that's a sponsor of your podcast. I did this with audiobooks day one. I just signed up as an affiliate for audiobooks, or actually it was Audible, and I just said, okay, here's my URL. If you want a free audiobook, go to eofirebook.com. And Audible had no idea I was doing that. They knew that I was sending them a lot of clients, and they were happy about that. But I had a sponsor from day one on my show that was generating revenue because I found a product or a service that made sense for my audience.
So Kate, how many people have taken the free courses, like just approximately?
Wow, probably upwards. I think on our master podcast interest list, which is how they come through, we have about 20,000 people on that list.
Wow, so they take the free course, and like you said, even if they don't buy something, they're talking about you because you taught them. So it helps everything go.
Yeah, like even like a couple months ago, we had this big bump in sales of Podcaster's Paradise, and Kate and I were like, I wonder what happened. And it turned out that Jenna Kuchar and Amy Porterfield were at some big event, and they were on stage, they were being asked questions about podcasting, and they're like, oh, well, we just go to freepodcastingcourse.com, like go check out what John and Kate have done. And so people in the audience by the hundreds just went to that, took the free course, And some of them matriculated into Podcasters Paradise, but all of them remain on our nurture list, on our email list for free podcast course. So when you create something that's great, other people start talking about it.
So John, you did something early on that I think would scare most people. You decided to publish your income